Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Sunday service of Now Creations. It's a bright, sunshiny day here in Youngstown today. And more than anything else, hopefully it's a bright, sunshiny day within our own soul spirit. Nothing more important to know that the presence within you is all that you'll ever need for your joy, your happiness, and the extension of your goodness. Just a couple of things before we begin today. First of all, I remind you to do your intentional act of kindness for the month of April. We just have 7 more days left. And each day we do that intentional act of kindness. It just makes such a difference to bring that energy forward in our lives so it becomes a much more consistent practice. Also, tonight we'll be having The New Earth by Eckhart Tolle from 6 to 7:30. And of course, I invite you to join us on Monday night for our meditation from 7 to 8. With those announcements made, let's begin. My dear friends, last week's Sunday teaching struck a very responsive chord in so many of you, especially the truth of the teaching that you already are the love that you seek. The truth of that teaching made, I think, many of us just stop. You just stopped and thought, isn't it true? Isn't it about time that I stop looking for what isn't there and start looking within myself and finding what is here within? For many of you, it was what we might call a gut check for your spiritual progress. Are you ready to step up and acknowledge who you are, so you will not just simply play at being spiritual? It's a good question. Are you ready to kind of step it up and to understand who you truly are and not just play at being spiritual? Additionally, several of you asked if I would say a few more words on this absolutely most important first eternal principle of life, that you already are the love that you seek. I'm very happy to do so, and therefore today's teaching is entitled The First Eternal Principle of Life, Part 2. I will begin with 2 challenging questions and an explanation of each, and then I'll conclude with a third high energy question and its explanation. Let's begin, first of all, with the first of the 2 challenging questions. Here it is. Is there still something that you are holding on to that you have not made up your mind to release? Let me just repeat that. Is there still something you are holding on to that you have not made up your mind to release? This something could be anything from a personal habit, such as binge eating or perhaps indulging in sexual fantasies. Or it might be someone whose demeanor and presence are very upsetting to you, that whenever you see them, there's just a tendency within you to become critical and judgmental. Or it could be a sense of self-loathing and not feeling that you are good enough to be a stellar child of God. I say these things to you because I recently have talked to a few people who have said, Vince, I just need to get some things off of my chest. I have been hiding these things for so long. It's time for me to release them. Perhaps this is the same for you. Are you still holding back on what's something that really needs to go? Now is the time to release what no longer serves you. But let me add another phrase. Now is the time to release what no longer serves you. Now with this phrase, at your present level of spiritual growth. because you realize that you cannot honestly go forward, genuinely, sincerely make progress if you are still carrying the baggage of something with you. There was a time earlier in your spiritual development that you didn't need to be quite so honest with yourself. But that time has passed. Now, you are the only impediment to your spiritual growth. It's only you that is stopping you from moving forward. Now is the time you are ready for. Now is the time where hopefully you will no longer hold back. You can no longer hold back what you clearly understand is stopping your growth. Now, please be gentle with yourself. Be gentle with yourself. Take a good look at what you need to release and realize that you want to release it so that it will become the doorway for your future growth. Don't just knock at the door and then run away again. Did you hear that? Don't just knock at the door and then run away again. Now's the time to not just release what really is impeding you, but especially now is the time to release what is impeding you so that you can move forward for the reward. The reward being the continual evolution of your spiritual progress. How many times have I said to you, there is more to come? Well, this is one of those times. There is more to come when you release what is holding you back. The more comes and can only come when you release what is holding you back. Now, please don't fool yourself. Don't fool yourself back into rationalizations, back into complacency. Don't say to yourself, well, no one will know if I'm holding something back. Let me be crystal clear in responding to that statement in these three ways. First of all, you will know. You will know. You will know that you have come to the door, knocked, but ran away again. I'm not saying this to induce fear in you by any means or guilt, but simply that you might move forward. Haven't you advanced beyond, in a sense, holding back? Aren't you ready to move beyond? Aren't you ready to stop simply playing at spirituality and now make that bigger decision that you will launch forward into a greater evolutionary experience? Are you not now ready? The second response, not only will you know, but the spirit within you will know. The God spirit within you will know if you're still holding back. This spiritual experience within you will not judge you. Get that out of your mind. But it will not be fooled by you. It will not be duped by you. The God spirit will just patiently wait until you once again knock at the door, and this time pass through it. In truth, are you not really a disappointment, not just to the God spirit, but really much more so to yourself, to your soul? This is a very important time for you to advance, and not to move away from the path once again. It's an important time. And thirdly, others will also know as well. You see, others will know in this way. They will know when you shine forth more brightly. Listen closely. This is quite obvious to you when you see other members of now creations making an obvious advancement in their spirituality. You see a brightness in them that was not there before. They are happier, calmer, they kind of glow a little more. This game could be said about you when you make your advancement. Others will see the difference in you or not. They will see that something is different about you or not. They will see that extra spark and commitment in your voice and in your actions or not. Hopefully, you are now ready to say that or not is no longer your choice. Now there is no holding back. Like Willie Nelson, you are on the road again. Which brings us now to the second challenging question. Here it is. When you are now challenged by the next immediate real situation, will you revert to the old habit? In a very practical situation, will you revert to the old habit? Or will you make good that resolution of yours to move forward on your spiritual path? It's one thing to come to a realization of how you want to go forward in your mind. It is quite another when all of a sudden you're in that situation, confronting that person or that habit that you have to make a decision in at that moment. As one of our members said quite recently concerning his spirituality, he said, at first, I could talk it, but I couldn't walk it. I knew what it meant, but I didn't live it. It was in my head, but not in my heart. I could think it, but I didn't feel it. Eventually, we, each one of us, must rise above our situations and or peoples that still bother us. Not only must each one of us release the low energies that come into your own personal life, but I also want to suggest to you that we need to release the low energies that we often experience with others. Please know unequivocally that everyone else is on their own soul journey. And while you might have moved beyond your lower energies, others have not, because their souls are experiencing the very same lessons that your soul decided to experience, but now has moved beyond. Truly, don't get caught in your own dramas, but also do not get caught in the dramas of others. We have all played the old cycle of victim, perpetrator, and rescuer. You're not doing that anymore, but a lot of people still are. Don't get caught. Just as you no longer are holding yourself back, don't let others hold you back. Don't let others influence you to the point that you revert back to the old habit again. These are the things that keep you trapped, not so much yourself, but often others. Now you might say, Vince, this is easier said than done, especially when the people you're rescuing are those that you love. In response, let me suggest these two things, and please consider them deeply. First, do not revert to your old habits of holding yourself back or always trying to rescue others. For this reason, listen clearly. Have you ever regretted the new growth that you have come to? Have you ever regretted the new growth that you have come to? Do you not always find that you are more conscious when you decide to move forward? This is very important to understand. Do you not understand that you become more conscious when you move forward from your old habits yourself, and also from rescuing in the dramas of others? In fact, how many times have you done so? And then look back, saying to yourself, I can't believe how duped I was. Can't believe that the old me was so easily fooled, either by myself or by others. As well-meaning as one might be, it's very important that we move forward. I encourage you to move forward. Again, answer this question. Have you ever regretted the growth you have come to? In fact, has it not been the movement forward from the past? Has it not been the movement forward from the past that has brought you to where you presently are? You have learned the lesson. If you need to learn it again, please do so. The second basis for moving forward was presented by Plato in his wonderful work called the Gorgias. When confronted with the question, what is the worst thing about someone who lies, cheats, and steals? Plato said the worst thing is not that they might get caught. Rather, this is what Plato said. He said the worst thing about lying, stealing, and cheating is that such a person will never experience the joys of being kind and of loving service. Pretty sharp cookie, that Plato. Again, listen closely. Plato clearly recognized that there is an inner drive in each human being to be like the God Spirit that created it. There is this inner drive in each one of us to be just like that God Spirit that created it, to be in its image and likeness. That just like the God Spirit that Plato called the good, we too are created to, we are meant to share our inherent love and goodness. It's the way we're made. We already are that love that we seek. That we too, hopefully, are meant to experience that love that we already are, which means no holding back, no holding out, no holding on to the old habits that just fool you again and again and again. thinking that you need the superficial things of life that entrap you in the lower energies, which now lead us to that third aspect of today's teaching. It's a pretty good one. Again, let me introduce it with a simple 3-word but very high energy question. Are you pure? Are you pure? Are you still holding on to those old patterns that are the old you, being the old you again and again? Are you pure? It's a good question, isn't it? By this, I mean 2 things. First, have you moved beyond that old personality self and are now acknowledging your true identity as a conscious soul spirit? Have you made this first shift? Are you pure in identifying your true self? And then that second shift, have you realized that you as a soul spirit has not left your source, and that you are happily now allowing the God Spirit to flow through your soul spirit as your guide in life? Are you pure? Allowing the God Spirit to flow through you in your life. Listen more closely. Let me now introduce a phrase that was used by Paul the Apostle. The phrase was that we are heirs of heaven. Heirs of heaven. But I suggest to you that being an heir of heaven is not a place where you go to when you die, but it is your present day inheritance. Let me explain. Being an heir of heaven means to be in a loving consciousness. It means to be pure. So that, as Jesus said, you might bring heaven to earth. Are you not beginning to see this? Being an heir to heaven is to be in the purity of the consciousness that is the heaven within you, so that in the purity of that consciousness, you will bring heaven to earth. Yes, I'm going to repeat that. Being an heir to heaven is understanding that you have that heavenly consciousness within you, and that it is through the purity of this consciousness that you bring heaven to earth. Are you pure? Or are you still holding back to that old habit that eventually you'll regret, that has kept you impure? Surely only you can answer this question, but you can answer it. It's a watershed moment. Are you pure? Don't fool yourself again. Don't plead ignorance again. Don't rationalize the habit away. Again, have you ever regretted the growth that occurred when you advanced impurity. You're ready. So let me suggest to you the following practice. It's one that I often say. These are the words. The Holy Spirit is my spirit. The Holy Spirit is my spirit. I will often sit for a half hour or more, and I'll simply repeat the words. The Holy Spirit is my spirit. The Holy Spirit is my spirit. And then eventually the words begin to be synonymous with the breath. Breathing in the Holy Spirit, breathing out is my spirit. The Holy Spirit is my spirit. I want to be pure in the Holy Spirit. You might ask, well, Vince, why do you say these words? Because I want to be pure. It's the pathway. Why do I say these words? Because they affirm that I already am the love that I seek. There's no need to go anywhere else. I know this. You know this. We just need to affirm this, that we are the love that we seek. This is the first eternal truth of life. Well, in conclusion, I wouldn't say these words, the Holy Spirit is my spirit, if I didn't think they were the truth of my life. And I wouldn't share them with you if I didn't think that they were not the truth of your life. But I do say them and I share them because I think they are the truth. The first eternal truth for both you and for me. And it is this truth that we are the Holy Spirit of life, that we are the love that we seek that will move us forward. And of course, we're doing this together. So with this in mind, let me now guide you in meditation. And what a joy it is to do so. Let us begin as we normally do by simply focusing on the breath. Just breathing in and breathing out, and allow the breath to settle you. It'll just take a couple of seconds. You're getting used to this. Please begin. And would you see how quickly you moved into this sense of inner presence? Just notice this. Didn't take long at all. This is important because now you're in the clarity of your inner self. You're in the clarity of your soul. This is you. Is it not? This is you. I'm going to ask you two questions fairly quickly, one after the other, that they'll explain why I'm asking the questions. First of all, are you still holding on to something you have rationalized away and no longer serves you? The second question, Vince, why do you keep on asking us that question? Because I know how long the process can take. So I'll just ask it one more time. Is there something that you're holding on to, not quite ready to give up? But now I'm going to add these words: that is impeding your spiritual growth. Would you take a moment and see if in fact that might be the case for you? How many times have you approached the door that opens the pathway forward and you've knocked, but you quickly ran away again? Every time you revert to an old habit, you just strengthen it. I know, you're saying this is the last time I'm going to do it. This is the end. You've just strengthened it. You've just strengthened it. Now, don't judge yourself terribly, but just acknowledge where you are. No need for guilt and shame, but a need to get beyond this impediment. Now, have you ever regretted the progress you made? When you spiritually did not revert, it took the better path. The more that awaits you can only come when you release your blockage. That little 3-word question, hopefully maybe you will see it not so much as a haunting question as an invitation. Are you pure? So let's take the positive approach. Would you simply respond to that invitation? Are you pure? With the words, I am pure. I am pure. And allowing the God Spirit to be my guide. I am pure. I am pure. Don't say, I want to be pure. I am pure. It's the only way for you to go forward. So would you say these words that I'm suggesting you? The Holy Spirit is my spirit. Just say those or similar words to yourself. The Holy Spirit is my spirit. Take a moment. And would you notice how the energy of these words make you feel? The Holy Spirit is my spirit. Do not these words speak for themselves? Let me now invite you to gently return to the rhythm of your breathing. And as you do so, just gently breathing your eyes open. We've done some heavy lifting this morning, joyfully. I would not be surprised if you will be sparkling throughout the rest of the day. Makes it quite easy to say, I am an eternal being of light and love. Thus, only good can come to me, and only good can come from me. And we are eternal beings of light and love. Thus, only good can come to us, and only good can come from us. That's the truth. Namaste.